Good morning, Renny Doyle podcast, and man, we've got a really cool special guest on today, and somebody I've watched grow and have become closer to, and much. I mean, the respect level is unbelievable. Always has been, but now being around her a lot more in the last years. And I took a note when we were leading into this that it's amazing how it's now, at a different platform in my career, age wise and everything else, probably more age wise and maturity wise. It's pretty cool to see fellow professionals and what they've done, not just up front, but behind the scenes. And so it's cool to pull the curtain back and kind of see this. So, Chris, you want to introduce our guest, and then we're going to jump in right with her. Not that she needs
But
any introduction.
but behind the scenes, we should have had her take us on a tour of the Autogeek warehouse.
Well, we'll do that next time. That'd be fun. That would be fun. We got that
That
tour.
that would be fun. But
We got that.
I'm always afraid I'm gonna mess up her last name. But it's Meghan Poirier. Do I do that right?
That's close enough, Chris.
Close enough.
We'll go with that.
But everybody knows Meghan. She is the what are you, Chief Operations Officer, right?
Yes,
over
sir.
over at Autogeek, and Autogeek is one of our favorite, I guess, detail supply distributors. I mean, you guys sell it all, just about everything definitely everything that you need for your detailing business or just for your weekend warrior work that you do. But they're great supporters of the industry, both Meghan and Autogeek, and they, that's one of the things I always try and tell people. People ask, "Oh, should I get this from here or there?" And I just say, whatever you do, get your stuff from somebody that actually supports our industry and that is interested in making it grow and become better. Because there's a lot of companies out there that just like to take from it. But AutoGeek's a good example of a kind of company that, is not only, the people there are not only making a living in this industry, but they're giving back to it as well. So I think that's important. But the other cool thing too, this year, AutoGeek was one of our sponsors at our Air Force One project. So, big thank you to them for doing that with us this year as well. And I think that's kind of what I got.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been really cool. I remember way back, and we'll get into the history of AutoGeek a little bit right now. But I remember hearing AutoGeek, and I was like, "What's an AutoGeek?" I have to look it up. The name alone drove me, and you got to remember, this is right when online really started to happen. I mean, not just for us, for the world. And I remember seeing AutoGeek, and I was like, "Oh my God, who are these guys? What are they doing? How do they do it?" And and just watched them grow. And then I met Megan, and I was like, "Okay, I've got to. What's her story?" And remember watching her. And I remember my first Megan. You've probably never heard the story. The first time I met you, I watched you the whole weekend, and you were behind the scenes controlling the chaos.
Must have been Detail Fest.
Yep, it was. It was. And you're behind, and I just watched her, and I was like, okay, how is she saying so calm and cool? And that's pretty impressive. So that was my first time of just watching you in action. So thank you so much for coming on the program. So we've done a light introduction. I'd love to have you introduce yourself.
Sure. I've been with AutoGeek since I think 2000 or 2001. I'm not even sure at this rate. But when I came on with the company, I had owned my own photography company, and they were transitioning from a catalog to the internet because that's how old we all are.
Right.
People used to send in orders on paper to us, and we would ship them little jars of sovereign wax out. So we started out with transitioning, from the catalog to the internet. We originally were Palm Beach Motoring, was our website, and then we switched over to AutoGeek in 2001. And just, we took as everybody in this industry, we took a few stabs at a few different things. We came out with a forum, the first attempt failed, and then came back at it again, and then it hit just right. The website, we made some changes with that, and things evolved. We started a few different brands in the process. We bought a few brands. Just kind of slowly built from like 1,000 square feet, to where we're sitting now. And it's been fun, a slow, fun ride. And I think slow and steady is what wins the race.
There you go. I like that. So let's go back again all the way to the beginning. Before you guys turned over to Autogeek and everything else, I even knew of you guys way back then, right? As because of this catalog. The internet was just going, but it was the Wild West. To build a website back then was quite the adventure. There wasn't too many code writers, at the time when you guys really got into, even in 2000, 2001, it was still a struggle, to really get things going. How important in your journey going back, over 20 years with Autogeek, of just staying engaged, because you guys, I mean, you've got Detail Fest, you've got the shows you've gone to, you're a huge part, of SEMA, first displaying and now being there and having a presence there, all the various, mobile tech, Southern Details Conference, all these different things you're going, you obviously invest in that. How important is it for business to engage at that level? What's that bring to you?
I think it's important to get out there. It's more important that you give back. Being at these events for us is really important. I think sometimes people don't understand these aren't really money makers for us. They're more about going and doing the education. You get an opportunity, mobile tech is a great example. You can go there and teach classes on all different kinds of topics. And then the students can come to you after, and they come right up to the booth and, ask questions one-on-one. So I feel like for us, it's that education part of being at these shows. We like to lead by education, and it just gives us an opportunity to talk to the customer face to face. E-commerce can give you this very non-personal thing. We do know a lot of our customers. I have some that had since day one, but to get out there and to see them face to face, I think that's real important in this industry.
No, it really is. I'll tell you a really cool story that will kind of, in my eyes, set your guys as what your culture is, with your customers. Is I'm at the first Detail Fest that I'd gone to. You guys have brought me down, and you had brought in, you got to do a car show, and it's all the people. And I'd never mixed and mingled with the Autogeek customer, and the Autogeek customer isn't, by the majority, and correct me if I'm wrong, is not a professional. They're enthusiasts.
Correct.
And all of a sudden we're engaging with all these enthusiasts, and they are on fire. The passion was unbelievable. And I'm sitting there, I remember there's a small group of younger guys saying, man, I just, I don't know about commingling with these do-it-yourselfers. And I was like, are you crazy? The passion you guys do for a living, what they do for fun, this is a fun event for them. You need to go take in, and that passion needs to be addictive. But you had a young man there that had boy, I'm going to do this injustice. It was like a Cutlass. It was an older, like 86. It was like somebody in his family's car, original paint from from 86, single stage. There's a couple spots where it was worn through, because at this point it was 30 years old, right? It was flawless. And the young man that was driving it drove it like 1,200 miles one way. And I honestly had to give him a trophy, because I can't imagine the time this young guy put in. This car was so important to him for all these reasons. That was my exposure to where Autogeek is. They have taken and built up a culture, a fan base, a family, and that's really hard to do and maintain.
Yeah,
And
I can tell you one even crazier. I know who that is. That is Shane from Tennessee.
that's exactly it. It is.
He has been a customer of ours since I think he was 16.
I mean, it's some people, some of the pros really gave me, pushback, because, they're looking at, there's all kinds of cars there, right? There's Ferraris.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was, to me, it was, you guys gave me instructions that this show's about DIY. It's about passion. And for somebody to take, 30-year-old paint and make it look that good when it's already thin, I just thought that was deserving,
Mhm.
but more so, excuse me, it was the passion that he had developed and doing that work, and really what he was telling you guys is that, you guys have valued me, I'm going to value you. I'm coming down to support this thing. I want to be a part of your mojo.
Mhm.
And I think that you guys, when you're at shows, a lot of people at shows, you said it, shows cost a lot, especially you guys, because you don't just show up with, a 10 by 10 and a picnic table, and throw one or two, products out, and there's one person there manning it. You show up. So for those that have never seen you, maybe they're DIYs, they haven't been to a professional show, how big are your booths at these events? I mean, you take a whole back wall at Mobile Tech.
Mobile Tech, we try to go 50 feet wide on the back wall. I think we did 20 by 20 at Southern Detailers Conference.
It's
Um,
a lot of space.
well, we try to represent the brands that are at the show. For us, it's about making sure that the vendors that we have close relationships with, that we represent them well. So, try to bring as many brands as we can, and you can't do that in a 10 by 10.
No, so true, right? So true. So let me ask you this, is that going back, you've got many enterprises that it started out, as one idea, and it grew into many ideas, a lot of different brands within a brand. Now, and in that time, a lot of competition has come into it, but yet you guys have really been able to maintain your platform. How have you done that? What's the secret sauce, do you think?
I think it's one thing, it's education. We try to make sure we deliver enough education because, like you said, we are dealing with, the enthusiasts. They need a little help with the product. They need to make sure they're using it right. So we put a lot of time and energy into our videos and making sure that we have the proper training that we're giving them. You know, I always tell people, if a product, they use a product and it doesn't perform the way they want to, they don't blame the product, they blame us. so
Absolutely.
so for us, it's important that we give them that information. So when they utilize that product, that it's going to perform the way it should. And and you know better than anybody. There's a lot of good products out there, but some of them require a little more finesse than others. And so we try to make sure that we clearly explain, how to use them. And I think, nowadays with the coatings, the consumers are trying to get into those. They don't want to go pay the big dollars to have them installed. So, but coatings can be finicky. And so, you just really got to make sure you put out a lot of education. And I think that's where we, do a good part in the industry.
Well, three things. My baseline for a company that in this modern day that's really getting out like you guys do on, into the video realm is empathy. Well, you just shared that. You got empathy for the people that are buying products, not even the pros. A lot of them, too many think they're educated on the product, but they're really not, right? I mean, and it's not a hit at the pros, but I wish the pros would spend a little more time doing research like the DIY people do, especially now. This is the most sophisticated driver that we've ever had. So empathy, you do a great job on. Education, you do a great job on. And then entertaining, those three factors. I think Autogeek's a great example of that. Now, speaking of, you've brought in a couple of my favorite people. So you've got Justin and Robin that are brand representatives for you,
I was just going to
spokespeople.
bring them up.
Yeah, worthy of it. And so, I love, the direction you're going at. And so, that brings a whole nother side of it. And with Robin coming in, I mean, Justin's there. He's a young entrepreneur, passionate, shares that empathy and that connection with the DIY. And then Robin and yourself represent a powerhouse, what I call a powerhouse, and it's girl power coming up through this industry. But not only through the industry, I was reading something really cool that 8 or 9% of all brand new Ferrari owners are females now. It's the highest it's ever been. It's doubled in recent years. And so the female side of detailing, both on the pro and the enthusiast, has grown. Justin's definitely in connection. So kind of explain your idea of using those talents within your education.
Well, when we, did a change with our education last year, there was one thing we really wanted to make sure we did is that we brought in people that are actually working in industry. To train somebody on how to professionally detail is, technique's one thing, but actually running a business, as that it's just the age old problem. A lot of detailers get in it, and that whole business side just gets forgotten. And they could be the best detailer out there, but they have to have a little bit of, hey, I've been in this, and I've been doing this, and I understand the troubles you might run across, and also the fact that you got to run a business. It's just not doing the work. You've got to run the business. You got to market it. So Justin is very, close to us. He's only an hour away. He runs a very successful business. You and I have both watched him grow over the
Mm.
years from that little shop in the back to he just owns that corner over there. So Justin was he's always been at the top of my list. I think he's a good kid. He represents the company well. And then, with Robin, and, we'll let the cat out of the bag on that one, but you were the one that suggested Robin to me. I had been looking for a female trainer. We are seeing the industry change. And so for us, it was very important to bring in a female. And you said you'll meet her and you'll know. And I think I spent 2 minutes with her, and I said, okay, that's the one.
Right. Yeah. She's just so well rounded, and she's a great blend for, your synergy.
Yes.
And let's put it out there. I think that a lot of people seeing you out in doing what you do within Autogeek's been an inspiration, not just at building a business, but this is like the military. It's strongly a man's world out there. And I think I've watched some very powerful females really struggle with trying to get their foothold in it. But I think that you are a great example of that, of somebody that's seasoned, that really just you just showed your value. You didn't have to prove anything. Is that you just showed what how dynamic you are, and the respect came very natural. But I'm sure it was not an easy road, or was it? Was it really that big of a struggle? Did you face diversity as a female in a man's industry?
What I've always said, I feel like in this industry, and it's probably, and you're very familiar with this in the military, I think women have to work twice as hard just to establish themselves, which I have no problem with doing. But I do think, you know, when you're trying to work in an industry that is, probably 95% male, you have to earn the respect differently. You're not going to be given it just because of who you are. And so I just always have kept my head down, worked hard, and let that speak for itself. And, eventually people were like, all right, I respect what you're doing. And back, I will tell you, probably in 2001, it was three of us running this company. It was me, Juan, and we had Jeanette running the front office. But me and Juan were building the website. We were running back packing orders. We were taking phone calls. We were taking technical calls. And I would get a tech call, and a guy would ask me, hey, could I just speak to the guy in charge? And I'd be like, well, I'm going to hand it over to Juan, but I probably know about as much as he does, but I have no problem doing that. And I thought it was kind of interesting how that happened back in the day. And so, it would be a funny, little back and forth between me and Juan because our desks were next to each other. He'd say, hey, wait, I don't really know about this product. And I would tell him, and he would tell me. But we just kind of learned about the products as we were building the site. We were packing the orders. We did a little bit of as a three-man show. So we did a little bit of everything. And so I definitely got a lot of that back in the day, but I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah,
You know what? Oh, real quick, I was just going to jump in and say, you know what's cool is, I mean, you have this awesome title, right? Chief Operations Officer. But the important thing to realize is that, no matter what the job is, it seems like you're willing to jump in and do it, whether it was back then or now. And I think that's an important trait with people that are successful in what they're going to do and, help them move forward is You literally just put on whatever hat you have to, do the job, and get it done.
That is correct.
So, it's funny because at this last training, one of the students comes up to me and he goes, I got to, he says, how engaged are you, in the shop? He goes, like, for instance, he goes, when's the last time you cleaned the bathroom here? I said, about an hour ago. And he goes, really? I said, yeah, I went and wiped it down just about an hour ago. Success doesn't mean, that you're not jumping in there when you have to jump in there. Sometimes your crew, your staff, your team is doing, they've got their jobs. Sometimes to go back and do the simple things, it needs to be done. And it also humbles you, and I think you're that person.
Well,
So
not only that, I let Renny clean the bathroom too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he lets me. Yeah, I do. I do it all, and when we're small, you guys do a lot with a little. For as big of an organization as you are, you do a lot. You're a very tightly ran operation, and you can see that when you're at your facility. With that being said, there's been a lot of changes in the industry in the last decade. I mean, you've had a front row seat to it. Does something stand out? Anything really stand out to you that what's helped propel and change, not just the professional side, but the DIYers? They've changed a lot.
Yeah. I think, we just kind of had this conversation the other day. Back in 2008, when the recession hit, we found a lot of people were holding on to their cars instead of buying new cars. So you found that the DIYers were like looking to, get their cars to look as good as they could without purchasing a new one. And so the industry's definitely kind of evolved with, that kind of, change. I don't think I would have said, 20 years ago, if we had ceramic coatings, that our DIYers would be applying them. But now, because there's so much more information out there, there's so much more technology, products have become easier to use. You've got ceramic spray coatings, you just spray them on and wipe them down. So I think technology, in terms of what they can find online, and technology that has advanced in actual chemicals, has really changed the whole platform for everybody.
No, it really has. And especially, again, people just coming into the industry, I think, have been greatly impacted by this movement of ease, and by all means, believe it or not, detailing a car is not easy. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of science to it to do it right, correct? But it's not to the point where I think the manufacturers, suppliers like you, I think the education that you've done has really helped push the industry ahead as a whole. I think that you guys, Autogeek, has been a staple in spreading that education, the importance of education and investing in education, because it really is. It's a big investment for you guys to do this. It doesn't, of course, you build your business off of it, but it also has helped grow, everybody. The old saying is, a rising tide lifts all ships. I think that you guys have created the first tsunami, in the industry with education. I think that you were one of the very earliest to really push that to the forefront. And I think it's paid off, big time for all of us.
Yeah,
So
I think it's definitely something that needed to be done to help this industry just,
agreed.
become a little more stable and open it up to a lot more people.
So let's go back just a bit. So with all the testosterone flowing through the industry, okay, lots of testosterone, is that, I was raised by my mom and grandma. I've got 3 daughters and 1 son. So I've got, a very good natural balancer of testosterone, all around me, have my entire life. I think that one of the things that a lot of, not all men, but I think what a lot of men miss is the opportunity to watch females and how they engage, different things they do. From a female's perspective, what are you liking that the females are bringing to our industry that the guys maybe need to pay attention to?
I think the one thing that's nice, and we'll just say this loosely, but there's a lot of, I think, the egos in the industry, which when you have that, I don't feel like they work together as well as they should, and it's much better than it used to be. But I feel
It
like
is.
the women have a lot more humility to them. That they encourage each other. They have a lot more patience. Um, we did a women's training, one of the first ones I've done in Lexington with the IGL group, and it was a whole class of female detailers, and it was me and Robin, and a bunch of great trainers up there, and it was really nice just to listen to them. It was completely different than being at one of our boot camps down here, full of a bunch of guys. And I just thought, wow, they're so encouraging to each other. Anything, and not that these people compete, but a lot of times people aren't always looking to put their hand down to help somebody up. And I think women really do well with that in this
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah. That's well, it's definitely, I've seen the change, and I like the balance, that women bring. And I like the fact that a lot of the women that I see that I've got a lot of respect for, they're not playing the woman card the wrong way. They're playing it the right way. They're just getting in there and doing business. And I just think it's remarkable to watch what a handful, because it's a small number, but that is quadrupled what it was just a decade ago. So it's really, to see Sydney up out of a home garage, legitimate shop in her house, doing something like that. I mean, it's, Robin now being a spokesperson. I mean, I can go on and on, Diane, my wife, of her part of climbing in and teaching her perspective. And it's funny because in training, I'll listen in on her day when she's doing interiors, and her perspective is so different than even mine, somebody that's sensitive to it. And so I think that somebody that hasn't had that exposure, if they really, grasp it and hold on to it, they can really learn something. So your culture around Autogeek, education, what do you think about detailers educating their customers, and developing their own coach? Some people say, oh, I'm a 1 or 2 person shop. But yet I think that if you stripped everybody away at Autogeek, and just had 1 or 2 core people there, you and one, that core, those core values wouldn't change. I think that you could build it as big as you wanted to, or you could shrink it down, and your cores seem that they've stayed the same through time. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. One thing that was really nice, and when we had the change of ownership, in 2016, we developed a vision, mission, values, statement, and it's kind of something we try to live by daily. We also try to hold each other to it, and I think what we kind of came up with that is just kind of something we've kind of been living, around here, and a lot of it has to do with respecting each other, working hard but still having fun. We try to inspire everybody to be the best they can. One of the things we love to do here is we love to promote within. I can't tell you how many people that started on the packing line are running a website right now because they've gotten the training and we've brought them up through. Or I have one guy running Amazon for us that started out in the warehouse, as a younger kid. We've got people that have gotten married. I have a family of 4, I think, in total that work for us.
Wow.
So for us, I think it's always been that we've kept it a real close knit family. We don't consider this employees; we're a family. We sit and we have meals twice a month together. We try to make sure that we let them know how much we appreciate them, because without them we don't exist. So I think as long as you keep that feeling alive and make sure that you let everybody know that they're just as important. And this goes back to, you cleaning the toilet. I'm probably the best toilet repair person in the building for that faucet that always breaks.
I love
But
it.
they need to see you getting dirty. I don't mind scrubbing the bathrooms, So I think it just, as long as you can keep your values, don't lose sight of that, and just keep moving forward and appreciating everybody around you that's helping build the business. You can't go wrong.
No,
You
I
know, when
agree.
when when we visited your facility back in, what was it, February, when we were at Mobile Tech, I took a picture of your vision, mission, and values that was on the wall, and so I had to dig it up just now. And I think, is it right behind you? Actually, I think it is.
It is behind me.
But one of the things that does stand out is on the mission. It does say improve the quality of lives of our team,
Yes.
and I think that's pretty cool to put that right out there. That's one of your goals.
Yeah, you have to, you really need to have something, even when the new people come in. And, we say it's one thing to put it on the wall, but you have to live it. You have to keep doing it, and you have to, not necessarily preach it, but just live it daily. And when you live it daily, I think everybody else just, they see it and they appreciate it. And I don't know, we have a good group here. I'm pretty proud of everybody under this roof.
Well, see, I think that kind of culture spreads out too, because I would say you guys do the exact same thing within the industry. You build from within. I mean, the example of Robin, the example of Justin, you might not know this, but Justin and I, he was out at training, oh my gosh, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. It's been a bit. And he said, he goes, well, how do you envision me? And I said, far above where you're at right now. And I really envision you being engaged with Autogeek. It was, yeah. Is that cool or what? I mean, I said, I just think there's a blend there in knowing them. And during your transitional period, you guys transitioned kind of into a new company. I mean, you really did. And when that was happening, I was just like, hold the line, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And my wait for it kept getting louder, And so I think that and those are just two, Robin, and I can name so many. You've pushed me forward, I mean, you've pushed so many people forward. It's matter of fact, to kind of get you into the limelight isn't really easy. Is that you like to have your soldiers out there, your people, your generals, it's just really impressive to see somebody at your caliber that's taking and putting other people's build up lives, needs, desires, talents out there. I think you're really good at it.
I appreciate that.
I think you're really good at it. And when I say you, I think it's you and the Autogeek team. I think that it takes, it's a tribe, right? It takes,
Absolutely.
It's a village. It takes a lot to move a company like yours. So with that, let's shift gears just a little bit. A couple shared passions. Have you gone camping lately?
I have not been in about a month, which is a long time for me, but also just bought a house that I thought was move-in ready, and I've been pretty much gutting it. So my camping time has been on hold. I am going to go out for a couple of days this weekend somewhere local, but we do a big trip to Disney's Fort Wilderness with the grandkids, and that's coming up at the end of this month. So I have just started to plan camping again now that I'm over kind of the hump of remodeling the house.
Wow.
And I will tell you this too, you guys are a little bit, have a luxury of weather. In Florida, camping in the summer,
it's tough.
You might as well take a shower and just put your clothes on without drying off, because you're just going to be soaking wet all day. There's no way to, there's just no way to enjoy the outdoors all weekend in the sun unless you're in a pool. So, I'll start picking it back up. We bought a smaller camper so that we can go, quick weekend trips. I was towing that 40-foot, and it was just too much.
Right.
So
that's a big one.
Yeah, we're down to Little Weekender, and I think we'll probably at least once a month get at least a weekend out. I really love the idea of work hard and play hard, but you got to take a little break on occasion. So camping's my break.
Well, we've had the same. Our truck had some modifications done to it, and to allow us to get a few more places. So we're going to try next week to get the camper back on the truck and just start doing some quick overnight, escapes, go make breakfast and come on back home, but it's a busy time, but I had to ask you. So you see a lot, come in contact with a lot of entrepreneurs, and what do you see that makes you smile right now? And let's take this back. you've got a different vision. So, your vision is 100,000 feet above. You get to see a lot. But is there something that you've taken note of with entrepreneurs in this day and age that just makes you smile?
I think one of the nice things now is I feel some, generation just depends on it, but a lot of people won't stick with it when the going gets tough. And I watch especially a lot of these, detailers opening shops. They're going through rough times, and they're plowing through and sticking it out. And I think that's just kind of something that you love to see, because we all know it's never easy in the beginning. And if you think opening a business is going to be instant, cash flow and working 40 hours a week, you're in the wrong place.
Boy, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I don't even care if it's, if you're an entrepreneur, or, you're working for somebody, you have to put the time and effort in. Things pay off when you put in the effort. And, it's kind of good to see. I've seen a lot of young kids too, especially on these Facebook groups that are, starting out, and they're really doing well. And it just, that kind of warms your heart to see, okay, they're going to make it. They were willing to put in the time and effort, because, you see some that, come crying to you like, oh, I really tried hard for a couple months and it didn't happen for me. I'm like, a couple months? Like,
Yeah.
you haven't got the word of mouth out yet in a couple months. So, I think that's a lot of it, is these people have the passion and the drive and the commitment just to put that time in. Because we all know you're not going to, nothing comes easy.
I always tell people that the first three winners, winners are usually the slowest for detailing. My full-time gig went to my part-time gig. I had for three winners, I had a full-time gig and did detailing part-time. And then by about April 1st, I was back doing detailing full-time and didn't have a part-time gig. But, I had kids and responsibilities, and I didn't want to eat up my savings, and so don't be ashamed. I mean, even in 08, it was getting to the point to where it was like, okay, how long is this going to last? Because, our key thing is survival, and Diane and I had the conversation many times. Okay, what's the threshold point to where one of us goes back to work, or even both of us go back to work part-time? And Diane did take a little during the ski season, a little bookkeeping type of job for a little bit, just to take the pressure off, right? But that's your survival instincts.
Yeah.
Is maybe your full-time gig's not a full-time gig yet. Make it a part-time gig until it turns into your full-time gig. I think that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. So all of us have been given one piece of advice during our lives that you love to spread. Do you have something that somebody has said to you during the years? I mean, you've come in contact with a lot of amazing, powerful people. You work with a group that's amazing within your team, around your team. But has anybody said something, or do you have a piece of advice that you think is really it's wisdom?
I think I have something I try to live by, more so, and try to, instill in everybody in the building is, we always like to say, never say that's not my job. And, not only is that something I like to share with them, but I like to live it. It goes back to cleaning toilets, or, when we moved in this building, I painted and hung chair rail and assembled the cabinets and the countertops in the kitchen. Everything is your job when you work as a family, or, a tribe or a group. So I think it's real important, not only to share that thought, but also to live it. People aren't going to do it if you're not doing it, and for me, I like to get in and get in the middle of it just with them. When we moved in this building, it was, I think, 7 weeks of working 7 days a week, long days. And moving a, company this large, it requires everybody to do a little bit of everything. We had, a customer service manager pulling orders when we were back up and running. Everybody pitches in. And I think, if you just live that, everybody around you will see it. They'll appreciate it, but they'll also start living it themselves. And it makes it for a better team unit.
I love it. Great piece of advice. Okay, so now if somebody lives underneath the rock
And they can't find us?
they can't find you, I mean, so how do people connect with you and Autogeek?
Well, you can always come to our site, and I'm going to give you a little tidbit or a press release here, which we will have a new site within 24 hours.
Oh,
You will
wow.
be the first one to hear that. So please come visit us this weekend because we have a fresh new baby being launched. So you can always find us at autogeek.com. And then obviously we have our Facebook. We have our Facebook group, the 101. If you have any questions, we've got the Autogeek forum. We've got Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel. You know, if there's anything anybody needs help with, you know, you just go on a YouTube channel and search it. And even if you can't find it there, which I'm sure you can, but if you can't, we have technicians on the phone, you know, every morning at 8 a.m. You just call in. There's somebody that'll walk you through any project that you're going for, whether, you know, you're a customer or not. We're here to help. Make sure you get it done right. You know, and then we have live chat, and you can always email us if it's after hours.
Dang.
But we want to make sure we cover everything we can for you.
I'm going to tell you, anybody that is an entrepreneur or you're in management in a company, if you just listen to the moving parts as chief operational officer that this dynamic professional covers, that's a lot of moving parts. And the fact that you still smile and you're so cordial is pretty amazing. But I also think it's testimony of just how well you've got your shit together. And that takes time, doesn't it?
Well, you know, I will say there's probably, you know, we've all made mistakes along the road, but when you've been doing this long, you've kind of got it nailed down. Not that I'm not going to make some mistakes, but you know what? We've been doing this a long time, and our team's pretty tight, and I feel like it runs like a well-oiled machine, and you know, we have a good time doing it, and as long as you do that, you don't mind going to work every day. So
I love it. Yeah, that's what I tell people. I don't ever wake up. It's been since I had a job, and it's been a long time since I've had a job, that I woke up and I just said, I don't want to do this. You know, I mean, every day is a challenge, even on the tough days. You know, we've had personally probably one of the toughest 2 weeks of my life. If I've got to pick out 5 of those chapters of toughness, you know, I'm in the midst of one of them right now. And I woke up this morning and I said, you know, I get to speak to a good friend, somebody I really, really appreciate. It's not you, Chris. Sorry.
I know.
You're number 2. You're number 2 today. You're number 2 today. But I get to work it with Chris. My mind gets to be free, and I get to speak with a dynamic person, you know. And Chris was so good because he knows I'm going. You know, we're going through some battles right now, and he's like, "Hey, how's the notes coming?" You know, he's checking in on me. You know, the last couple of days, and it was just it's awesome to have you here. So if you get a chance and you're at a show and you haven't met Meghan, please go shake her hand and first off, tell her that you appreciate her effort because she works her butt off. But second off, just get to know her because you're a great person. Thanks for coming on this morning. It means the world to me. Diane said to say hi.
You tell her hi, and I miss her home cooking.
Yeah, right. And I know I'm number 2 in your book with her. That's okay. She won you over. She's pretty dynamic. I'm sure lucky guy. But Meghan, thanks a lot. Hey, text me some pictures when you go camping. I'll text you some of mine.
Will do. Thank you for your time today.
You got it. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.